So welcome to the Node.js Node API team meeting for Friday the 13th, 2023. Hopefully everything will go well. Before we get started, does anybody have any news they'd like to share? Okay, if not, I am pulling up the list we usually go through and I will share it. So there we are. I don't know if there's anything we need to chat about on this tracking issues. I think it's just that's sort of a longer time thing.
Well, yeah, the Vid update has been synchronized to the main branch. So the only issue is that the CI has been locked down, so I cannot trigger CI for the rebased PR. So let's wait for the security release to be published, and then we can rerun the CI for the PR.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, hopefully next week. Hopefully today the release will go out, things will be unlocked and so forth.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Sounds good. We talked about nothing new to talk about. I don't think there's an update on the non-C language bindings or full coverage and debug testing. So I think I'll just jump into stale issues. I think we're down to just the samples repo, but I don't think there's an update on that one. So
sorry,
good.
Not yet.
Yeah, no problem. So we've pretty good, nothing too stale working on, which is good. So that takes us down to let's look at the issues in the repos themselves. So let me find the right repo. This is not it. Okay, so these are just clean one. This one, yeah, go ahead.
I would like to bring this up. Well, previously, Michael, would you mind open the issue that
this one
it's fixing? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Correct. The issue here is that node.js doesn't support customizing the order of the included JIP configurations. So node.js built in a bunch of settings that is common for add-ons. However, it disabled exception support for add-on since Node itself doesn't build with exception support. However, Node add-on API does support exceptions. So the problem is that when you using Node.js with include option or the config.jpy that the Node.js automatically detects, it doesn't work to enable exception support. So you have to go other way. In this PR, I added a preset dependencies for add-on to be used, which will be able to override the configuration provided by Node.js so that people can easily enable exception support once they declare the dependency on the JIP targets we ship with the package. So you can take a look at the example at the pull request description about how people can use it. You can see that instead of declaring the include directory, we declare a dependency with the Node add-on API. So the dependency would automatically propagate configs like include directory and exception support to the target that declares dependency on the Node add-on API. So that's how it basically works. However, I found that we previously we ship a JIP target that basically did nothing, but I'm not sure if there is anyone depending on it. So
Which
that's a
was
problem.
that? So where was that?
Would you mind open the root directory of the
Yeah.
repository? It's the first thing is that you can take a look at index.js. It exposes an API called drip, which is the node underscore API.drip column nothing. Yeah, that's the target. It exposes with the JS API. Yeah, this target basically provides nothing. Yeah, so I'm not sure why it existed.
All right, let's see.
I think this might have had to do with when Node API was experimental, and it did something, and then we just changed it to do nothing. But my recollection is vague.
I'm looking. So this came. Enable include files via package dependency. What else? Okay, that's
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that's the history that we have to trace back to see how the intention of the node underscore API dot drip was. So if we can, like, say, remove this file and replace it with the drip file that built with the presets we define, like what I did in the PR, then that will be easier since we don't have to define two entries for the node add-on API drip file.
For name from source, nothing. I'm just looking at the history. This is. Let's look at the. Well, I guess that, like, though, the PR in its current state, I think you were thinking maybe it's Semver Major.
No, in its current state, it's not Semver Major since I didn't replace the drip entry of the index.js, so there is nothing breaking. But it adds an additional entry in the drip in index.js, which may be confusing since the index.js .drip simply does nothing, but it can be a good field to expose the file with the target. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking, that it replace the drip entry of index.js. Yeah, so I have did replace that. So this is breaking.
Okay, so this is breaking because if people were using node API.jip nothing, it would now not exist, right?
Yeah.
I guess it's like, even from looking at that history, I don't remember enough of the context. I don't know if Gabriel, if you remember any of the context of.
I think I might have made this change. I'm looking back in the history, and it looks like when I
Yeah.
removed Node 6 and Node 8 support. Yeah. So yeah, because yeah, okay, I see now. There was a time when Node API was not built into Node, right? And so at that time, you needed to build a target in order to be able to use Node API, and it was called a Node API. And that the name of the target, the name of the path from which you installed the target, came from index.js, the JIP setting that it would return. And then I replaced it with a nothing target because, okay, Node API is built in, no need to build anything in order to use Node API because it's already there. So I think that's the origin of this JIP setting in index.js.
Right.
Oh,
What would
I
happen
see.
if we remove it?
Well, I mean, anybody who references it, their add-on would break if they still do. Like in their binding JIP, right? If they say, like, you know, if they execute the index.js to retrieve this setting and then they use it in their dependencies, even though it doesn't do anything, the fact that the target itself is missing would break their add-on, and it would force them to remove this setting, which again does nothing anymore. But of course, I'm not sure how many add-ons still you know, haven't changed this particular ingredient since Node 6 or Node 8.
Or
Because if they
whatever
have,
used it, like many would never have needed it in the first place, right?
well, I mean, if they were building against Node 6 and they wanted to use Node API, then they would have needed it. And it might have stuck around in their binding JIP.
Right, but anybody who started and built, like, moving over later than, like, actually moved on 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever.
Exactly, would never have used it. Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, we can rename and we can add a new entry for the Node add-on API JIP and leave the Node API JIP as unchanged. That's two options for the new file, but I mean, it can be less confusing since in the new package of Node add-on API, the default JIP entry simply does nothing. So yeah, it can be great to provide the new targets through the simple name.
I'm thinking it likely won't affect too many people. And if it's like, you know, we should treat it in a Semper major bump, but like, if you're bumping up to the next Semper major and then deleting, it's basically like delete something, right? It's not a major change.
Yeah, you can remove the dependency if you are not using it, even when you're upgrading Node version.
Because I doubt that too many, like, packages should automatically update to the next Semper major.
Yeah. Another thing is when this fails, because I mean we're moving from a target to a file, right? So this, you know, if somebody happens to use it, they want to upgrade to the next Semper major, they're going to get an error. Will that error tell them that they need to remove this reference to this JIP? Like, how will they know how to fix that error? What will the error look like? You know, because we don't want them spending hours to figure out that, oh, all I had to do was remove this line from my binding JIP.
Well, I'm not sure how JIP would prompt user to about the missing target name. I can check it out, and yeah, I can check it out.
Okay, that would be good. And I mean, I think we could like maybe add some words to like our release notes for the next major version, saying
Right.
that look for this error and this is what it means. If it is too confusing, if it's pretty self-explanatory, then we may not even need to do that. But we can back it up with some documentation if it does seem too confusing.
Yeah, definitely having in the release notes, like if you see this error, just delete, like giving the people the confidence to say this is no longer needed, so it's removed, just delete it.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good
Yeah.
idea. So yeah, Shenzong, if you like can check out what the error looks like, and then we can even use that in the release notes, that would be good.
Yeah, sure.
But I think with that, like, does anybody else have concerns about making that change if we, document it like that?
I'm okay with that.
Okay, sounds good. Anything more on this one before I move on?
I don't have any.
Okay, I don't know if there's, I know this one, you're still is a longer one you're working on, Gabriel. Anything you want to mention on that?
Please review the one in core whenever you get a chance. I'm planning to work ahead a little bit if I get a chance, and just turn on the that secondary experimental flag that I wrapped it in. Just turn that on in node.js API and have it build against my PR branch and watch the fireworks as things fail to compile. Hopefully, they should fail to compile with this flag turned on, and not only will they fail to compile, I'm hoping, but I'm also hoping that the compiler errors will point me to exactly the things that we need to change in node.js API in order to take advantage of the compile time detection of these. I'm not going to call them pure anymore. I'm going to call them node.js, thanks to Ben's input to these node.js APIs. So that's the plan, and hopefully by the time that PR lands, it will become clear what needs to change in node.js API to support this, and hopefully we'll just be able to synchronize the two PRs and offer this as like one package in the next version.
Yeah, although this has like an opt-in, right? So it doesn't have to be completely synchronized, right?
Well, yeah, this PR can go, like, I'll probably decline it because the approach now is completely different, which is to do basically what I did here, but do it in core, using the PR in core. So I'm probably going to decline this and replace it with a PR that actually, uses the stuff in core once that stuff lands.
Right. So does it still make sense to look at this one?
No, actually, you could probably
Okay.
just close it because the issue is still there. That says, this is coming and we need to be ready for it.
Okay, so I'm just going to say we discussed in the team meeting today, it will be replaced by a PR in core, so closing.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. That's good. Okay, flipping over to issues. Enabling this, I think this is related. We talked about this. I think that we just talked about as well. Otherwise, nothing too early, too recent. This is a newest one. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to look. Okay. It's interesting that moving from an Xcode version makes a difference. Okay, well, I don't know, just probably nothing to chat about that. So I think I will flip over to no. Okay. Okay, this one, it would be great if people could take a look at. I guess there's already some, Vladimir, you've already taken a look. That's good. I don't think this is anywhere else. So I just tried to add, I thought like with the matrix, it would be good to explain just before the matrix, the difference between the versions. So Chenzong in particular, I know you did a number of the changes around there. If you could read through and see if I managed to explain it in a reasonable way.
Yeah, was looking at it, and I'm going to approve it once I think everything is settled.
Okay, great. Right, this is the one I think, Gabriel, we were just talking about, right? So this is the core version of this.
Yep. Yeah, I've had some feedback from Vladimir, just a small nit, and also from Ben. And as a result, I have made some changes, so it should be ready for review now, at least for one round of review.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. It's good to get some. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I like the renaming since it explains the intention of the environment to be forbidden garbage collection instead of being constant or anything pure.
Yeah, that was great insight by Ben, I think.
Yeah, and getting to the doc and all that. Okay, so basically this is the one where there's like a, hey, please take a look and comment or not, right?
Yes, please. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And Gabriel, I actually was looking for an alternative way instead of using const. I couldn't find any good solution besides just simply saying that we have some APEC pointers, like different APEC pointers, and maybe providing some kind of function which can convert between them. So probably using const is the best approach if it's just about this situation. If we need to have something more kind of effectively bigger hierarchy.
No, yeah, that doesn't work, right? It's you can only have two. I know, it's very limited.
For
I thought
bigger
about that
hierarchy,
too.
I've seen like people using these transparent unions, but again, it's extension to see it's not standard. And the best approach I could find just APEC pointers and providing some maybe inline functions which would allow you to convert.
Right.
Yeah.
Hopefully we won't need a bigger hierarchy. Like we're not gonna further partition the API based on different features of the environment. If we do, then I mean, even for this approach, there would have been an alternative, which was to just add like a new batch of APIs which are all node.js, right? Like we were thinking about that. And in retrospect, we decided that with the runtime detection of the API version, right, we are able to sort of break the API, but in an opt-in fashion, right? So that's the new sort of superpower that we now have thanks to your changes, and that has enabled us to do this. But that has its limitations too if we ever need to make these kinds of changes again. So at that time, we're going to make the decision of how to approach that. And we always have the option of adding new APIs. It's not ideal, but if we have no other choice, then we're just going to do that and slowly deprecate the old ones and then just sort of roll forward. But for now, this is an excellent mechanism. This runtime detection and opt-in. And we now have compile time detection as well, so we should be good for at least a while yet.
Yeah, it's excellent. Earlier we can tell people about this new kind of significant change is better.
Yeah, I think definitely some, once this lands or whatever, we should explain, maybe write a blog post or something to explain like, hey, here's a new thing you can do and what it means and how to use it and all that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, can do.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so there's some, I guess, there's good chance on you asked if there's anything else, but. Yeah, I don't know if you have any idea what else we should do.
Well, I mean, we should, maybe I can take a look how election multiple environment interact with Node add-on API and Node API, I mean. So to see if there's any problem with Node API with election.
Yeah, if you had time to do that, that'd be great.
Yeah. With my impression of this PR, I really cannot tell if there is anything anything wrong with Node API or election. So I have to take a deep look at it.
Okay, so we'll leave that one open. This one. I think you were working on.
Yeah, that's the one we are waiting for the CI lockdown to be.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. I don't think there's anything else too recent. Any others that people have that we should discuss?
The docs clarification and submission offer, I put up a PR in the examples repo when we get there, and I was going to add some more readmes as well.
Okay, let's take a look. Node add-on examples. So this one, right?
Yep. So I just put that up today. So if you guys want to take a look and just let me know if there's any comments or feedback, I'll be happy to adjust it. And then I've got some readmes to go into each one of those categories. So I kind of like split it into categories of examples, and then I'm going to kind of put some information as well, and then try to feed that back into the examples website. So that they're kind of shows in README format if someone's looking in the repo, and also will show on the website if someone happens to see the UI at the URL.
My only very first suggestion is it might make sense to still have like a getting started.
Okay, instead of general, called getting started.
And maybe if that's what
do you
general
think-
is, then yeah, like it's kind of like I come here, I just want to do like a hello world or something like that. Where do I start?
Yep.
Right. That's the one thing that doesn't, whereas before, like some of them were like one.
That
I'm
was
gonna do this
actually,
two.
if you scroll down, that was my one question that I had.
Okay.
Is there was two questions: is should I put everything in a source folder, and then the second one is should I number them so that the folders are actually like in kind of some kind of an order for
Right.
that exact reason, to kind of highlight where to start.
Yeah, to me, the ordering, like, yeah, because when you go here, so you come in here, you look in the code, right? And these will make sure that they show up in this order, right? Otherwise, it's just up to whatever we don't really have control. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to do that.
Yeah, sorry, Chinzong, go ahead.
Yeah, I like the idea of ordering, and especially when going back to the Node add-on APIs example, it has a problem similar to the ordering that I always had a hard time to find the setup documentation in Node add-on APIs example, since it hides in the middle of the document list rather than at the top of the document list. So I'm in favor of the manual ordering of the directory.
Another possibility, and I'm not sure if this entails too much work for it to be worth it, is to have very few files in the root of the repo, and so the README will basically be shown almost immediately with maybe just one directory of the file list. and then the top of the README can have the most important, like the hello world and so forth, and then that would effectively put the ordering under our control. But again, though, just labeling something with one underscore accomplishes that too, so that might just be simpler.
How do you feel about putting how do you feel about putting all of the examples in a source directory? And then, so that way the only thing you really see is the GitHub, the source, the website, and then the static files, so that the README kind of jumps out. Would that accomplish that, do you think?
Probably, yeah, because I mean, as long as there are a few files here and one doesn't have to scroll down to the README, that would do it. But I just realized one thing: if we do that, then we may have to maintain like a we may have to synchronize the tree with the README, and then if we add an example, now you have to update the README and so forth. Whereas as it is, you don't have to update anything. It just the file list is the link, you know. So again, I'm not sure if it's worth the effort.
It kind of depends, like yes and no. Like the directory under source could still be the, like instead of replicating in the README the tree, it still might be useful to have the README pop up and then have people go into the source directory to see the order, right? If you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, and we could highlight some sort of we could highlight certain subdirectories that we consider important, such as, oh, I don't know, hello world, you know. So
Right.
so
Yeah.
I guess we don't need to like replicate the entire source tree
Right.
inside the README file, because you know, if you want to see the entire source tree, well, just click on source and that's it.
Yeah.
We can even put a link in the README that
Exactly,
will open up
yeah.
source. And aside from that, just highlight, like put deep links to the ones we consider important, like for folks just jumping into Node API. Yeah, okay, that works for me.
Yeah, so I think maybe the answers to your questions is like the numbering, yes, like even within the subdirectories, I think it'll still make sense, and moving everything to source sounds like everybody's positive on that too.
Sweet.
I
Okay,
like this
I'll
idea
push those
about
changes.
getting stuff, sir.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, thanks for working on that. And like, yeah, certainly I could see how that will make this much more consumable than the like, hey, we got a whole list of these things, but like, which one do I actually want to look at? So good.
And then I've got some READMEs for the individual categories, and in particular, some examples for handle scope that I'm going to add as well, just because there really is not a lot of documentation about that out there. But I'll do that in a separate PR just to not, you know, muddy the waters.
Yep, that sounds good.
Awesome.
Okay, so you know, maybe comment once you've reorganized, you know, once you've made those couple changes, and then people will know like, okay, let's go take a look, and it's in the form that, you know, would be the next step. So that's good. Okay, any other PRs or issues across any of the repos we should chat about? Well, if not, thanks for everybody's time, and we will see you in GitHub and next time.
Yep, talk to you later.
See you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Have a great day.
Yeah, you too.